Welcome back to the channel. This is Mariam. On today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to extend your permits in Canada. I'm talking about your study permits as an international student, your spousal open work permit, and your children's study permit. As you all know, I am here in Canada as an international student. My husband has a spousal open work permit. My kids are on a study permit. This video does not replace professional immigration advice. I'm only sharing like the documents that we had to submit and the process. With that said, let's get right into the video. For some of us, we arrived in Canada with study permits or work permits that would not cover the entire period of our study. I'm studying for a 2 year master's degree. My permit was for about 1 year because the passport that I used to apply at the time was due to expire. So they only give you permits or visas that would cover the time of your passport. So that's what happened. So I'm going to share with you like the process and the documents that you need to attach to your application for the process to be completed by IRCC, right? So for me, for my study permit, like these are the list of documents that are needed for a study permit extension in Canada. Number one is, of course, my international passport. I had to like make a new international passport. Then you need a recent letter of enrollment from your institution, like a recent one. You need to apply and get a recent one, maybe something that wasn't given to you less than a month before your application. To get a recent letter of employment, a letter of enrollment from your institution, you need to attach your transcripts to show the courses that you've covered and all that. That is another thing that you need to attach. And then when you go on the IRCC website and answer certain questions from on your portal, there are forms that will be made available to you. Once you start the application, you will fill out that application form. So the forms has a lot more detail that you need to complete. You talk about your of course your personal details, your travel details, your work experience. You have to complete those IRCC forms on the from the portal as well. You need your marriage certificate. If you're married, you need to have your marriage certificate. You need a digital passport photograph to attach on your application. You also need to show proof of funds, which is quite interesting. You need to show your proof of funds as well for a study permit extension. And then, of course, complete the forms from IRCC. For your children, you need to get a letter of enrollment from their schools, because I'm sure when we arrived, when you applied initially, the first study permit, you used your own letter of enrollment from your institution. But now that the children are also studying in Canada, you need to ask their own schools to give you a letter of enrollment for them for their own application as well. They need their own passport photograph. They need the international passport data page. You need to show proof of funds for the kids as well. Attach their stuff like birth certificates. Also attach your previous study permits, visas to this application to show that okay, you still have valid status in the country. For me, I also had to attach like a letter of employment, some pay slips as well to show that okay, I'm working in Canada and all that. For my spouse, we had to attach, of course, international passports, digital passport photograph, his letter of employment, some pay slips, proof of funds, marriage certificates, and all. And then each of us had about 2 or 3 forms that we had to complete. These forms will be made available to you from your GC Key portal. His recent work permit and visa, his um, employment letter from his workplace, some pay slips, and marriage certificates. Anything that will just help with the decision on your application, you can attach it to the study permit extension application. So for most people that apply as family, every time you apply to extend your stay, most times you're doing it together as a family. So that's why I thought that in this video, we could just capture everything and all the documents that are needed for a family application. So the study permit, the spousal open work permit, the children's study permits as well. So these are the documents that you would use, and you attach them to the IRCC form, which you would fill. They're mostly editable PDF forms that you will fill, and then you submit together with your application. And then, of course, you need a letter of explanation for each member of the family, or you could just have one that I think I did just one letter of explanation and added all everyone's detail on that letter and attached it on our client information on the portal. So that's how I did. IRCC always says apply at least 1 month before your current study permit or your current permit expires. But from what I have seen and from what I saw in my own experience, I would say apply at least 3 or 4 months before it expires, because the processing times are really long now. When I applied for our extension, it took 6 months for us to get our extension, even though we are inside the country, we are within the country, we didn't travel out of Canada or anything. It took that long, and I know people who are also still waiting for their study permit extensions for this long. So yeah, so start the process on time, gather your documents on time, make your application as straightforward as possible, answer the questions. The forms, the immigration forms that will be made available to you on your application portal. Some of them are like 6 pages. You have to answer questions like your travel history, some security questions, some contact details questions, your travel history, your work experience, have you lived in other countries? So the forms itself are very, very detailed. That's where you spend most of the work you do for the application. It's in those immigration forms. So yeah, so you need to start on time so that you are not in a rush and then you make mistakes while you're trying to submit your application. Yeah, I hope it has been useful. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Share this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you guys. Bye.